Say a little bit more about Olga's point. She said that the UN and big international organizations are having trouble in Ukraine because you guys are different. You have a banking system that works, you have a government in place, and you have logistical networks that work. Is that the problem, that the international community doesn't get the difference? What's the problem in your experience?
I really don't understand, Melinda. It's a great question. I would assume that having a running government and all institutions and bodies in place and intact, companies like Ukrzaliznytsia, which is Ukrainian railway, ministries, etc., everybody in place and running the show, it should be much easier for the UNs of this world to operate in the country, because normally they operate in a country with conflicting regime, or without any government at all, or with the military command in place. So I would assume it would make things easier for them, but apparently not. They are organized like a group of teenagers or volunteers that have no clue how to get stuff going and how to distribute it, and we need to receive massive volumes right now. They should be delivering it, and they are not. It's really a disgrace, and I urge every viewer or listener of your program, Melinda, to try and increase pressure towards those organizations and get them to move humanitarian aid into Ukraine.
The ultimate majority of those people who was forced to leave the territory of Ukraine are desperately willing to come back. And we have now regained the control over a big part of Ukrainian territory, not only the west of Ukraine. And we are now working actively on the concept of rebuilding or building Ukraine back again. And this is the process which requires a couple of urgent things. Covering the budget deficit through flow of the liquidity, and it's needed to be done as soon as possible and as long as it is needed until we need that. And this would require mobilization of 3 billion of US dollars per month approximately, and EU hopefully will take the lead on that. And rebuilding Ukraine at this moment in the areas where we regain the control over the territories at this stage, and taking a broader leadership in rebuilding Ukraine, which is also part of the assistance and the Marshall Plan. We have established, and President yesterday announced, the United 24 Foundation, which will be running all of the file, but European Union has already declared the political and global leadership in rebuilding Ukraine back again, and this would be closely aligned with our future membership to European Union. And even though we're targeting the transatlantic audience now, it is not less important that your engagement in this process is very strong.
Additional acquisition system actually ends up reinforcing failure, because you get paid more when you don't deliver something, and you keep getting paid until you deliver something, then you're stopped getting paid. Well, the commercial world is the opposite. The commercial world, you don't get paid at all until you have something that works. Then you start getting paid. And the difference between those two models is why commercial just crushes at these things, not stealth bombers, right, and not aircraft carriers, but the things that take a lot of rapid innovation.
I have to disagree with the comments that what we're seeing in Ukraine with small sats is changing warfare in any sort of fundamental way, especially when what we're seeing mirrors and continues really a lot of what we already saw in the 1980s, and especially in 1991 with Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, with the issues on space power integration or terrestrial force enhancement with military space, including on the issue of overhead imagery. where shutter controls and other forms of informations or communications blockade were implemented by the United States. And I have to disagree with Paul's comments about everything being out in the open with Ukraine. I don't recall Ukrainian military movements being broadcast to everyone on their Twitter feeds. We seem to be only getting really good images of Russian forces, unless my Twitter is completely missing out on some good open source stuff on Ukrainian military movements. I don't think they've been broadcast half as much as Russian military forces. So it looks like there has been a lot of information blockading going on in terms of what images have been released by or been allowed to be released by the commercial sector